Here we go. All right.
Okay, so Tasha, it's so wonderful to see you again. Thanks for coming back. The last time you were here, we were talking about your job and that how big of a transition that has been. Do you want to tell me a little more about that?
Yeah. So I'm just really nervous. I'm nervous. I have a lot of anxiety around it because, I went to college for this job. I've always dreamed of having this job. And then, I finally got the job, and it just turned out to be a lot more difficult than what I had anticipated. Some of my coworkers aren't quite as helpful as I would expect them to be, when I have questions and everything. And so, unfortunately, sometimes I have that mentality where I'll just try to figure it out myself. And then, I've done that now a few times. And in doing so, figuring out myself has not been good for me because then I've made a couple mistakes. And just recently, I made a really big mistake on the job where I misfiled some really serious information that's going to cost the organization a lot of money. And I don't know what's going to happen as far as, them reprimanding me or anything, but I know something's coming. And I'm just really starting to feel like, like maybe this really isn't the job that I thought that I wanted it to be, or, that I thought it was going to be for me. And so I'm really nervous and anxious, going every day because I'm afraid that I'm going to make a mistake, that I'm just not as, I don't know if smart is the word to use, but it's the only word that comes to mind. Just about everything about it. Like, I just don't feel like maybe I'm not even cut out for this line of work.
Wow.
Wow.
It sounds like you've really thought about this and you're having a really hard time. What I hear you saying is you went to college for this and you were really excited about your job and excited to be in this career. And then things kind of aren't going as well as you thought they were going to go. Um, and I hear that you're not making the relationships maybe that you thought you would with your coworkers. Yeah, I hear some
Hmm.
that you have some real worries about that, and so it sounds to me like you're saying too that maybe that's kind of a barrier that instead of being able to go to those coworkers for help, you felt like you still kind of feel like you're on your own and struggling a little bit. Does
Yeah,
that sound right?
big time, big time.
Uh,
And I just I'm a helper. I like to help people, and so not being able to get that help like I think I should. I'm not going to say that everyone's like that because there are a few. Like I do have a person that would consider to be an ally, I guess, if you want to call it. Um, it's just that unfortunately she doesn't do the same work that I do. So she has been somewhat helpful, but other than having her, I do find it pretty difficult, like to get help from my coworkers and my manager. um, in the beginning, she came off like she really wanted to be there to support me, and that, she had this open door policy that I could come in anytime, that I felt like I needed help or anything. But since I've been there, I just don't feel like she's really has that open door policy like she said she would have when I first came on. So yeah, not really having that person that I feel comfortable anyway to go to really has made it worse, made the anxiety worse.
oh, that sounds really hard. And it sounds like you thought that that manager would be somebody that you could depend on there too, when you went there. So, has there been any positive things that have happened while you have been at work there? That you found that like your expectations were, you say you're a helper. Have you been a helper in any other way there?
Um, well, yeah, I mean, I have. I've helped like for instance, one of the processes that they use to identify resources that we're no longer using, I was able to really get in there and clean up a lot of some of the um, junk that they had like going on in the files. I was able to really get in there and use some of my expertise and being able to do that. And I felt really good about that because it was something that you could tell that they had been neglecting for a long time. And then I just really am kind of good at cleaning and helping. And
Yeah.
so being able to do that, and I actually did get some praise from my manager in doing that. And as I'm talking to you now, I had actually totally forgot about that. So yeah, thank you, because yeah, that was something that I did. And I did that pretty early on when I got the job. So maybe that was a reason why, you know, with all this other stuff, this negative stuff that has happened has kind of clouded, you know, some of the positives that I have been able to accomplish while I'm there. So yeah, I have been able to use that helping skill. I was able to do that, like I said, in the very beginning when I first started. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, that sounds really good. It sounds like that that was identified that you were very organized and you have an attention to detail and your boss recognized that. So that sounds really positive. And it doesn't sound like you thought about that for a little while. So I'm glad that you brought that up and you were able to identify those things. How did that make you
Mhm.
feel when that happened? Does it give you confidence kind of working through this little hiccup that I think that you've had, this problem, to be able maybe to go back and talk
When
to
I
your
think
boss?
when I think about it, as you and I are bringing it up, yeah, it definitely makes me a little more confident. And maybe that's what I need to do is just really do more reflection and give myself more credit for things that I am doing correctly, because I know that I definitely can tend to be really hard on myself. And when things come up, you know, like what's going on with this job, I'm really ready to like just lose it. Like, you know, I just feel like such a failure, you know, and it's hard for me to pull myself out of feeling that way.
Mhm.
Um, but as I'm talking through with you, which is, I'm glad I came, because you know, sometimes I don't know what to do with the thoughts and the emotions, you know, that come up with it. It's like I said, I almost just feel like I just want to quit and just, you know, go lay in the bed and cover, you know, put the covers over my head and just be done with it
Right.
altogether. But I know that's not, you know, realistic. So you know, I'm just glad that I'm able to talk it out and, you know, at least get different perspective, which is, you know,
Yeah.
the whole purpose of I want to come.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a really good plan now, or an idea of your thoughts. So, and
Mhm,
I hear that you really care about this job, and I think that
mhm.
that's super. And I hear that you are like, well, I'm really good at helping. I'm good at cleaning things up. I'm good at that attention to detail, and I did receive praise. And you know, now I made this mistake, and oh, it made me feel really anxious. But in processing, I can hear you thinking about, you know, taking that praise and building on that, you know, and regaining some confidence through that, right? Yeah, it sounds like you are
Mhm,
really
right,
are, and I like
right.
it when you said that. I like when you said I can feel good about that, and I can go back to my boss and feel like, and you know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
And so you can
yeah,
sep yeah, it
I
sounds like
do.
yeah, you got some very positive characteristics, and, I think that it's great that you're here. I appreciate you know, talking through this with me too. So, are there other areas where you feel like,
Mhm. No, I
um
thank you for listening.
oh, is there any other area where you've had, success and been able to go and communicate with her that you feel good about using that same, um, expertise or that same, um, action, you know, going to her in that same way?
Like I was telling you before, that was in the very beginning when I first started the job. So And I remember I was telling you that I feel like things have changed somewhat. Like,
Yeah, oh,
I guess I hate to say it, but like the honeymoon is over, type
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But so right now, no, I don't feel like I can
Okay.
approach her, or that she really has an open door policy, especially with me right now, because
Yeah.
as the whole issue is that I've made some mistakes, and I feel her, I just feel her disappointment in me, I guess is the word I can use.
Mhm.
I don't want to say that she dislikes me, because I don't feel like it's anything like that. But
Okay.
I definitely don't feel quite as comfortable going to her as I did when I first started. So to answer the question, I would say
Yeah.
no, there's not been any other thing that has happened that has made me feel that I could go to her anymore. No.
Yeah, that's a really hard place to be. I'm sorry you feel that way. Yeah.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
okay. Well, I think we should stop here, um,
Okay.
just because of time.
Mhm. Thank you.
Hold on, I don't want to do that. Pause recording.